It's nearly 5 months now since I saw Leeds United fall apart again. It was the Championship playoff final. Leeds had worked so hard to get to that moment and didn't turn up. It was such a flat performance, but sadly not a surprising one. Leeds had been so flat really in the several games prior to that. It was a great example of Leedsiness. We should all be well aware of Leedsiness by now. It's something that's dogged them for years, where they don't live up to expectation and throw it away. Or, as you could say, fall apart again. So is this their season? Let's have a look. I'm Ryan Dilks from the second tier, and this is Will Leeds get back to where they belong? I will be honest, when Leeds finally got promoted from the Championship in 2020, I thought that was it. We would never see them in the second tier again. A lot of younger people may not fully appreciate how crazy it is that Leeds have been outside the Premier League for as much as they have been in this century. They genuinely are in the top 10 biggest clubs in the country in terms of fan base and history. So they were well overdue a return to the top flight. And they went up in one of the most impressive promotions we've ever seen. Marcelo Bielsa made them a class above everyone else that season. No one came close to Leeds United. So with the size of the club and their dominant promotion, it only made sense that when they finally returned back to the Premier League, that they would stay there. It appeared as if the club were in the right hands off the pitch, with brilliant signings like Rafinha and Rodrigo. And this is perhaps the craziest thing, right? Just 4 seasons ago, in Leeds' first season back in the Premier League, they finished just 2 points behind Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. So for Leeds to end up back in the Championship in that time, something must have gone seriously wrong. And it did. Poor decisions on who's going to manage them and several poor signings sent Leeds back down to the Championship. So it all went a bit wrong when they were in the Premier League last time, but let's look at how things are looking now with Leeds United in the present. Well, the first thing to mention is that in 2023, after getting relegated, they were taken over by the same group who own the NFL side, the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers so far, I would say their reign has been sensible. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. They got a lot of stick in the summer for selling the likes of Crescencio Somerville, Jorginho Ruta and Archie Gray, and not spending much of the money they got for them in return. Leeds' recruitment under the 49ers has been a bit so-so at times as well, but they've been sensible in the way that they haven't overreacted when things haven't gone well and seem focused on the end goal without throwing money at it. It's perhaps what Leeds need at this moment in time. Since the 49ers took over as well, they've had some very famous investors, the likes of Will Ferrell, Michael Phelps, Jordan Spieth and Russell Crowe. All have money in Leeds United, but one investor in particular is more interesting than any of those big stars, and you could say they're hoping to give Leeds their wings. Red Bull became minority owners in Leeds back in May. They, of course, own a number of clubs, and while I don't think they'll be called RB Leeds anytime soon, this is very interesting. I see this as a sign of Red Bull being confident Leeds will be back in the Premier League soon. They're one of the biggest brands in the world and wanted a way of getting into the English market. Why not do it with one of the biggest clubs in the country who are looking to get back at the top level? So there's a lot of backing in Leeds United as a brand, which means there's a lot of pressure for those on the pitch. This video is brought to you by our good friends at SBK. If you haven't heard of them yet, then where have you been? SBK's comprehensive range of markets and exclusive offers makes it the best place to bet on the Championship this season. Whether you're creating an accumulator or customising your bet builder, SBK has got you covered. Don't believe us? Sign up today and find out. Daniel Farke is one of the best managers the Championship has ever seen. He got Norwich promoted twice, he came in at Leeds and saw them pick up the most points ever for a Championship side who didn't get promoted. It's hard to be too critical of Leeds last season considering they were just bettered by other sides in the most competitive promotion race this league has ever seen. But that doesn't mean Daniel Farke is completely blameless. My main issues with Daniel Farke centre around 2 things. Firstly, the inconsistency Leeds suffered last season. They had a 3-month spell at the start of the new year where they were phenomenal, but either side of that they had a tendency to be really flat. It's something we've seen on a few occasions this season and definitely saw at the end of last season. A big thing to mention as well is that Leeds did the league double over both Ipswich and Leicester that season. That's great, but they also did the league double over just one of the bottom 10. It goes without saying, you win more points from doing the double over all those teams at the bottom than you do the top two. You know, simple maths. That's why consistency is so important with Leeds, and that's something they've definitely got to be better at this season. Secondly is Farke's in-game management. Daniel Farke relies a lot on individuals. He did it at Norwich and he does it at Leeds. And that's fine. He's giving them the platform to express themselves. We saw it happen a lot last season, though, where Crescencio Somerville would get Leeds out of jail a lot. But the problem is, if your best players aren't on it, what then? That's where Daniel Farke needs to step up, and he's failed to do that on so many occasions. I mean, if you want further evidence of his tactical failings, you just have to look at his record in the Premier League. But with Daniel Farke, he does give players the chance to express themselves. So, with that being said, is this squad good enough to get back to the Premier League? Yes. Yes, it definitely bloody is. Let's go through Leeds' squad. First of all, we've got the keeper, Ilem Meslier. Always capable of the odd Rick, but he's been Leeds' first choice keeper for the last 4 years, for good reason. The defence is easily the strongest in the Championship by quite a distance in my eyes. The centre-back pairing of Joe Rodon and Pascal Struijk is a Premier League ready pairing. The midfield two of Ethan Ampadu and Ilya Gruev is one of the strongest in the division, but they are both out until the new year. However, new signings Ayo Tanaka and Joe Rothwell are two very good replacements. On the wings, they have Willy Gnonto, arguably the most talented player in the division, and then two new signings, Manor Solomon and Larjit Ramazani. Ramazani has looked very exciting in these first few games, while Manor Solomon is a top player if he can stay fit. The two weak areas for Leeds are their number 10 and number 9 positions. Brenden Aaronson was given a second chance at Leeds, possibly because he's pretty much their only option as a number 10. His form so far hasn't really represented a player who cost them £25 million. I think that's fair to say, but there's still a long way to go in the season. And then up front, you've got Matteo Joseph and Joel Pirro. Joseph is one of the most exciting young players in the division. Joel Pirro has been a consistent goal scorer for years in the Championship. The issue is Daniel Farke doesn't seem to know which one is his first choice, but it wouldn't surprise me if that gets resolved sooner or later. Overall, it's easily the strongest starting 11 in the league, and that's before you even get on the squad depth as well, which is by far and away the strongest in the league. Losing two players like Ethan Ampadu and Ilya Gruev would cripple most sides in the division. Leeds have continued like it's business as usual. So let's answer the big question here. Will Leeds United get back to where they belong? I'm very confident the answer to that question is yes. It's more a question of whether they'll win the league or not. It's been a rather flat start to the season, but this Leeds squad is so strong that they will get going eventually. I would say the worst case scenario is that they finish second. I would be amazed if there's two teams who win more points than them this season. There are some strong teams in this league, but Leeds are on a different level. The only big concerns I have are whether their inconsistency trips them up again, or if they have another case of Leedsiness, which, you know, is always very possible with Leeds. But look, they did that last season, and they still got 90 points, which would have been enough for them to go up in every other season, bar last season. The simple fact is this: every aspect of this club is ready to make the step back up again. I have a few concerns about how Daniel Farke will get on in the Premier League, but look, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Overall, yes, I will say confidently, Leeds will get back to where they belong come May. The league is pretty much theirs to lose, and when it comes to things off the pitch like the financial backing and the general running of the club, they're probably in an even better position than they were the last time they got promoted. So when they get there, this time, they should hopefully stay there, like I expected that they would do the last time they got promoted. So this has been my take on whether Leeds will get back to where they belong. Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. I've been Ryan Dilks from the Second Tier, and we'll be back again very soon.